from kind of plane to plane, or is over 50 meters. But that's just based on the rough map. Locally, it could be a bit different, but it seems to match.
Yeah, so we're seeing these sort of muddy cliffs, which are different than some of what we expected.
Bridge nav.
I've seen exposed rock, and one of the goals here of this exploration,
let's add one more
this
step.
area,
Video pushing.
what kind of led us to this area is looking for sponges and corals. They prefer rocky hard bottom habitat because they need to be able to have a stable
substrate.
Kind of like, yeah, I was going to say foothold, but yeah, substrate, or, you know, just place to grab onto. They grow from a base. You can think about trees being rooted. Corals aren't rooted in the same way, but they have a plate attachment at the bottom that stabilizes them and they grow upwards from. So we're looking for some of these harder areas. But even as we've come along and we found these, you know, somewhat in the middle, they're a sediment-covered platform, but they're this compacted clay cliffs, starting to see different shapes and different types of biological communities. And remember that everything you're seeing here is brand new. The sanctuaries have not explored in this area before. Nautilus has not been in this area before. So this is the purest part of the mission right here. We're just going to new places and observing and trying to understand these patterns and adding new knowledge to the global picture, or more locally, the sanctuary's picture of what's happening here on the seafloor.
The squat?
Yeah, you think you made it off the cliff? It's a long way down.
What creature are you? Fish?
Is that a question or a statement?
I answered it midway through the
Video
sentence.
pushing.
Hello.
That is a snailfish.
That is. Not a cusk
I think,
eel.
wait. I think it's a snailfish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a very rounded head.
Yeah. I don't know which one, but
Great shot.
very cool.
The forks in those modified pectoral fins, pretty cool.
Good morning.
You know what? That might be a cusk eel.
Yeah.
Now that I see the whole body,
All right, full wide.
it's got a caudal fin.
Yeah, the fin rays on the top and bottom all the way down. Look.
Cool, nonetheless.
Super
Yep,
cool.
Yep.
Those two moves are complete. It's about 100 meters. Gonna hold there just to see if we can stay on this wall a little bit. I don't know that Argus has moved yet.
We've moved very slowly.
Yeah. I'm gonna change, I think.
Ooh, is that a flatfish?
No, we
No.
need Chad for this one.
That might be drift kelp.
Uh-huh.
Video pushing. It's a kelp fall.
Oh, microcystis.
Wow.
That is the giant brown kelp.
You're a long way from home.
Not a good spot for growing.
But a great spot to be eaten.
Yes.
Those nutrients will not go to waste.
No.
I think that's a totally fascinating area of deep sea is nutrient transport from the shallow waters to the deep. Kelp falls, you can think about if you're used to all the sort of volume of food coming down from above in the form of this little itty bitty marine snow, and it just sort of sprinkles down a little bit at a time. You can sort of imagine what a giant flux it is when all of a sudden a big kelp frond, or, you know, in canyons it's common to have sediment flows down canyons, which can carry biological matter or nutrients or whatever down to the deep sea. So we see it quite a bit when we're working up off kind of the Pacific Northwest, where we also have a lot of kelp. And it's just so out of place to find it down here totally in the dark, but to realize there's these mechanisms that somehow it's getting it down there. And then very much these like boom or bust, you know, get your nutrients while you can, quick digestive processes.
The transfer speed on those 2 moves was 1 knot, so I expect once Argus starts to go, it'll go, but nothing blistering.
Coming out of a box canyon. Wow, look at how those
On
harder ridges.
the underwards.
Yep, on the undersides, yeah. Wow, it's just like that's been sheared off.
Yeah. These are the moments where you're like, just touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It does just look like an overhanging slab.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about just things that you're used to seeing that are the limits of gravity in air.
Right.
We see some spires with hydrothermal vents and other things that are just so precarious and almost like Seussian, like, you know, unreal worlds that are sustainable down here. And you can tell because of the biology that's been growing on them. Not forever though. Eventually it'll fall.
Nothing's forever, Rennie.
Nothing's forever. 20 minutes in the watch.
I know, it was like,
Nothing's forever.
can't do existence.
Can never go home again. What else do we need to say?
It just dissolves into mumbling. All right, Paul, what's the maximum depth the ROVs can dive to? These ROVs in this configuration.
Hercules can go to 4, and Argus, there's a couple sensors on it that are also limited to 4, but if you took those off, then Argus can go all the way down to 6,000 meters.
Fantastic.
And we're currently developing 2 smaller ROVs, a mini Hercules and a smaller version of Argus called Atalanta, and those can go down to 6,000 meters.
It's almost like you listen when I talk.
Yeah. I was like, we gotta go like quiz show. It's final day dives the internship.
Video
Gotta see
push
what
in.
he's learned. And the maximum depth attainable for Nautilus is 0 meters. Nautilus stays up here on the surface. That's
I
our-
guess the maximum depth is 3.4 because that's our draft.
Yeah, we draw that.
Isn't that right? Is that our draft?
I've been told 5, but that's probably just to be, you know, or someone's rounding for safety.
Rounding around that multi-beam.
Yeah, the blister.
That's a precarious spot.
Don't do it, Squat Lobster. You know, he's probably just taking in the morning view, right? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Sunrise.
Yeah, stare into the abyss.
Go ahead, George. What is it typically? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so this
good
is
to know.
the final dive.
The draft is indeed 5
5.
meters.
All right.
It's written on the side of the vessel, as George informed us.
I was gonna say, I was like,
So-
during
Yeah, I was like, I've
recovery, we
seen
ought to
it.
be able
I
to
just-
see this, right?
It will vary, but it's usually, and it varies in the front to the back, but the back is 5. Makes sense. Take
Thanks,
on
George.
more fuel or use up the fuel and fresh water, start to float a bit heavier when we take it on.
So this is the final dive of 2019's season. Expecting it to go about 16 more hours. So we'll have our watch. You'll get to see the 12 to 4s, the 4 to 8s, and we will be back to finish it off, 8 to 12, back on deck about midnight. So hang with us, call your friends, tell them if they're not watching right now, they ought to be, because
Tempted to just call in another couple. It's pretty annoyingly slow. 315, roll the dice. Bridge nav. Let's do one more step. Thank you. Looks like that should be alright. If anything, it might be off of it, in which case you can explore the base.
Science team, do we have any explanation about these white bands, about the variation in sediment color?
What was the question?
Do we have any explanation about these white bands? Has there been any discussion about why there's variation in the sediment color?
We haven't. It may be different time deposits. I'm not a geologist, so I don't know.
It looks like that, but it also, you know, if we looked at the profile of it, some of it looks sediment colored due to a slightly less steep slope.
Yeah, it has
So
extra
this-
stuff landing on it.
But I would agree that it's probably just layers and layers of sediment.
Well, there's on some of the
Ledges,
overhangs.
yeah.
There's definitely
There's definitely
different layers
Yeah,
as well, but some
fresher
of the
sediment.
darker stuff is sediment covered.
Right.
It's like driving through Arizona and
Yeah. The
Utah and seeing all those bands of colors in the rocks.
road cuts are important geological tools.
Yep.
I tend to think that the darker bands are a light covered dusting of sediment
Yeah.
overlaying the clay.
So it seems like,
Yeah.
as we can see demonstrated here at the bottom.
Yeah.
Is that a
But
sponge?
even within the,
Well,
well,
it is a
yeah,
sponge.
yeah, maybe so.
Sponge or?
Yeah, as we poked into it yesterday, you can see the kind of more brown, yellowy brown, darker color sediment.
Video,
is,
get it.
It's just on top, and then
You know
underneath
what else
is
is
that
down there? An
late
octopus.
white clay.
I saw something below. Is that what you think it was?
Yeah.
Not even cheating with bubble cam either.
Nope. I never cheat, Rennie. You're not supposed to tell my secrets. I mean, I never cheat. Full wide.
Ah, you were right.
Hello,
Can we zoom in on its third arm?
octopus.
we have time?
Yeah. Video pushing. Oh, you are wrapped up. I don't know if I can zoom in on the third
No,
arm.
he or she may not be even allowing us to see it.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Thanks for the zoom.
Yep.
See you later. Super cool. I imagine through the night they continued to see this. I mean, at least during our watch last night along the slope, we found 3 or 4 that were out, you know, sort of solitary, roaming, looking for friends or mates or food. Awesome to continue to see them. Rennie, what is the deep part? So we know we're on a slope here off of the edge, kind of this lobe or terrace seamount. What is the sort of basement depth here? What does it slope down to?
Oh, there's a bunch of different terraces. It depends. The basin here is probably, Herc's probably approaching it right now.
Okay.
Which is 3230. But I think it goes a little bit deeper than that.
Yeah.
Maybe 10, 20 meters. And then there's a gradual slope. And, all the terraces aren't flat. They're just less sloped.
Yeah, gotcha.
So.
Thanks. Our dives are archived online. That's new this year. You can actually replay any dive in its entirety, and that's on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel, which is at EV Nautilus, or if you're watching on YouTube now, check out the playlists that have full dives, and you can rewatch them at the the broadcast quality. So those come there off the Nautilus, and you can relive your favorite moments
Another
of the
one up
Nautilus
there.
season that way, in addition to the highlights that are cut on our social media and on the photos and videos page.
Big
There's
3
a little-
cephalopods in half an hour. We are doing really well, team.
Very curled up. And facing the same orientation.
Oh,
And
another.
another 4.
Video push in. All right, can't look at your third leg.
All right, you're hiding.
Can't look at any of your legs.
Maybe the other one will be showing us its wares.
Yeah. And boom.
One,
No.
two.
I would argue male.
3
you
is
can
rolled
just
up, but you know,
see it.
It has a
Yeah.
little something.
yeah, that little white
Yeah, just
section.
behind.
Yep.
So we're looking for the third arm, and you count that from the arm that extends out from the right eye.
There you go. Video
So
push in.
the eye on the left to us, and you go 1,
Little
2,
polyp.
3, clockwise around.
Yeah, that is a male.
Looks like it.
And what we're looking for is
Yes,
that the suckers on that tentacle
All right, I'm going to go back to
those
flying down
actually-
and getting a little closer to Argus.
don't extend all the way to the tip. There's a modified end of that third arm that doesn't have any suckers on it. It's called the heterocotylis. And the heterocotylis is just a modified organ, a modified tool that places sperm packets in the mantle of female octopus. So a lot of these animals, you don't have an easy diagnostic tool like this to say male or female, but most octopus, this group of octopus is really easy to spot in that way. Science team, why do we care if we can tell if they're male or female? What info does that give you?
What information does it give you? Well, we can start to see where the males are located versus where the females are located. It also gives us a quantity of how many females we're seeing versus males that we're seeing. So it sort of gets us closer into learning more about the life histories of these critters, as well as the reproductive strategies. But we're just learning here at Davidson Seamount.
One of the interesting observations has been that most of the ones that we see out away from the vents are males.
Yeah, so far.
So, yeah. But I think the other interesting thing about what we're seeing here is that these guys stray quite a distance from the vent areas. So they are distributed throughout the Davidson Seamount area.
Yeah, and I think before discovering the octopus garden, that would have just been the basic assumption, that there were just these solitary octopus out across the seafloor. So, you know, still the surprise that a bunch of them get together, because normally when you see them, they're just kind of like this, sort of peppered along the seafloor.
So this is where serendipity intersects with science, because if we'd come at this from the opposite direction, say, seeing what we're seeing now, then the question might have been, where are all the females? We see all these males out here.
Nav.
And lo and behold, there was good fortune of running across the octopus garden.
Bridge nav.
Abandoned by your imaginary friend.
Add 1 step, please. Thank you.
Oh, he came to the rescue.
How can you hear him? Thought I was the only one.
I just saw the grin on your face, so I'm assuming that.
Don't let him hear that.
So if you refresh your browser, since we took over the watch about half hour ago, just below the question feed, you can actually see all of our smiling faces, little pictures, and our names and our roles inside the control van. So if you want to match up some of the voices to some of the pictures, go ahead and check that out. If you click in on a profile, there's a lot you can learn there about.
I think I'll track once we get past this 315 bit.
Okay.
I'll track kind of like that for a while.
Yeah, learn about our team's interests and career pathways. Check those out. You can learn that Rennie started out in the field of geography because he had an interest in human and environment interactions.
That's true.
End quote.
So now you go poke the
And now
extreme environment with a robot.
Exactly. Yeah, you never know where life's going to take you. Yeah, I started out that way, interested in kind of how humans were interacting with the environment, and then from there I realized I preferred some of the more physical environment aspects, so I started to go in that direction. But for a while there, was still focused on the general question of climate change, which is humans interacting with the environment. So was studying that for a bit in very technical, specific contexts, broadly, glacier retreat, stuff like that. And now I'm studying the deep ocean. Well, I should say facilitating science in the deep ocean.
All right, Aaron, let's go in.
So Rennie, what is the current thinking on the role of humans in the development of the plains across the United States midsection?
The plains?
The plains, yes, the prairies.
I don't know too much about that, but are you talking about as far as like related to Dust Bowl, that kind of situation?
Well, no, even prehistory perhaps. Humans managing the landscape to increase habitat for bison.
I see, yeah. No, I'm not too familiar with that.
Okay.
It's pretty large scale for it to not be geological in origin, but as far as management goes, I'm sure there's been some
This is really nice
change
footage.
in the environment.
It really is.
Yeah,
Nice footage of the shrimp.
It is beautiful. And they're big. They're deceptively big.
I love that galloping motion.
Thanks for the zoom.
Yep, full wide.
And these guys are not related to market shrimp? Or, I mean...
I'm not a shrimp expert, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's,
let's see, what are we going to end up doing?
You're thinking of spot prawns?
Swing your heading back to 225 for the moment, and then...
I mean,
we'll end
related,
up
but how closely related.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Thankfully, this feature is
But like we
linear.
couldn't go to the fish market and see one of these bright red guys.
No.
Yeah. So, if you keep a sharp eye out, every now and then you will see a droplet of oil.
Of oil?
Yep.
Floating up?
Yep. Yeah, it's from us. One of our comps is lower than we like it, but we're good to keep going, and maybe good to actually do the full 16 additional hours of dive. Actually, I think we will be good to do the additional 16 hours of dive, so that's why we're not rushing anything.
On a Herc cam or on?
Yeah, on the main HD. Usually it's associated with a little bit of driving backwards and down. Nothing that time.
Okay, Paul.
The oil is super viscous at this temperature.
Yeah.
So it'll kind of just like bubble on and like stay there, and then with some motion it'll come off.
Which comp is this? Where is it coming from?
We don't know exactly where the leak is. It's on our primary comp though. So that could be any of the J boxes or comped volumes on the vehicle, which is 4 manifolds and
Have you seen
3
any
J
drop in pressure?
boxes. Yeah, we're under 2 PSI.
And what do you normally?
3 to 4.
Yeah.
Ooh, sponge.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? We bring down mineral oil because it is important to compensate some spaces in the RV. Tell me more. Why is that? Why do you
Video
choose oil?
pushing.
Why is that important?
Yeah, so at this depth, there's incredible pressure. I don't remember what the pressure would be off the top of my head, but anyone can look it up. We're at
14.1 for every, what, 10 meters?
10
Every
meters
10
or
meters.
so,
Yeah.
and we're at
Full wide.
3,200
Actually,
meters.
let's look at that. What is that?
So there's an incredible amount of pressure.
Aaron, back in.
So anything hollow would just want to get crushed.
Is it a
with the
predatory
pressure.
tunicate?
It might be, yeah.
Carnivorous tunicate. Yeah.
Neat.
But mineral oil is incompressible, and it is nice to all of the electronics and internal components. So we can fill all of our hoses, all of our empty spaces with this mineral oil, which will basically counter that pressure from the depth.
Yeah, we make our comps. Our comped volumes are open to ambient pressure. So if we set it to 6 psi, and we're on the surface, then it's 6 psi compared to the ambient. That was a bit of oil. It's 6 psi compared to the ambient, and then if we are at this depth, it's still 6 psi above the ambient pressure.
So it sort of looks like a balloon, you know, up on the surface. It's flexible and it bulges up and out, you know,
Yeah,
kind
it's
of overfilled.
a big rubber balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And comp stands for compensator?
Yep. Compensated volume. I saw one of those earlier. What is that? Thought it was just an artifact. Video push in.
Nope, spoonworm. Look at it pull back in.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like it.
Megan, how do you feel about spoon worms?
Yeah.
But it's just their proboscis.
Super great. What a beautiful creature.
Hello.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.
I'll do another 50 at 315. Bridge now.
Copy.
Oh, what our team said was carnivorous
One more step.
tunicate, which it does sound, if you're rodent, like what is a tunicate, like the fish, but tunicates are a gelatinous creature. They have the interesting fun fact of being within the group chordates, so they're actually more closely related to us than all the rest of these invertebrates that we see here. So in their development, they have neural cord development. Don't end up with a backbone in the same way, but encourage you to do some more research and learn about them yourselves.
Tunicate.
Sorry for the bounce.
As in
We're
having
right
a
at
tunic.
tether length, full wide.
Come down a
Hi,
little
Hi,
bit.
Slime
Yeah,
Star.
I'm gonna back up.
Like that one. So our plan is for this dive to continue about 16 more hours, and then we will be doing some seafloor mapping and heading to Los Angeles into our home port Alta Sea at San Pedro, and that will wrap up the 2019 season. 193 days of operations
Gonna change
for our
my
expedition team
BP
this
to
year.
50.
So I know that scientific crew switches with each cruise. What about the ROV and nav crew? Are they on for the duration, or do they come and go at various times?
We come and go, but on a different schedule.
No, they're octopus. Up above.
So Greg, how long will
Which
you
way?
have been out here?
If you go up, it's above the squat
I
lobster,
got
a
on the
bit
boat
higher.
2 weeks ago,
Okay.
but I did a month earlier in the season and 3 weeks before that. Oh yeah, another
There it is.
octopus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there will
Cool.
be about 250 different people that have sailed on Nautilus this year.
Okay.
All right, Aaron, let's push in.
And that's anyway from one expedition to many
Tucked
of the
in.
expeditions.
Yeah, like Mark does most of them.
Mark
he
Durish,
does
our
a
deck
lot.
chief.
I did 130 to 140 of
All right,
those
full wide, we're
190
gonna
days.
keep back
Okay.
So did Miles.
It's important to have some stability,
Yes.
but also not burn people out. So
Hannaford did quite a bit.
it's a balance.
Yeah.
I know, he said he's
Huge.
becoming a perma-contractor.
And we look at the year and try and figure out, you know, how you can, even within a team, so 6 members of the ROV team, you know, how can you stagger the handoffs so that you're not taking 6 off and getting 6 new people, and keep that continuity even within a team.
Right, which is what we did on this last year.
Yeah, it happens
a
sometimes,
full
and that's
6 and
yeah, it's
6.
okay to do. But we spend a lot of time looking at that in the planning period before looking at staffing and seeing how different teams' levels of experience complement one another. You know.
Yeah, there's a lot of background work that I just never find out the end result of.
Yeah. With many, many elegant and a few not so elegant spreadsheets.
Pivot table.
Yes. I mean, a big super public shout out to Dr. Nicole Reno, our chief scientist and leader of our science team. She does so much work in getting the permits and working with the science teams and planning. So 193 days of operations is, you know, just a huge testament to a lot of our team's work. Nicole, Lindsay G, who's on board right now, our mapping coordinator. We have an interesting mission as an organization in that we work with like
Video
the whole
pushing.
science community. So, you know, we aim to be doing missions that complement the needs of the science community, and that requires a lot of coordination. So how do we pick where we go is a really common question. I'm going to go places with, discovery potential, exploration potential, that there's valued. Answer good questions by going there. But also get a diversity of different science disciplines, interesting data, and make progress on the overall
Thanks, Aaron.
exploration of the EEZ, the Exclusive Economic Zone of the United States.
There are all these like pseudo rock-looking things that we couldn't grab.
Yeah.
Think I'm
Oh,
gonna
there's
go-
a little slump right there.
Yeah.
3, 4, 5 will be the next move, I think.
So along the way, we're seeing a lot of anemones, different species, a couple black corals interspersed, and some great big sponges.
Yep.
Oh, great Argus shot of this cake.
And
Wedding
that little
cake.
guy, that's a squat
Zoom in a little
lobster,
bit
that
on
white
Argus if you
thing
want.
that was just swimming. And we're running video to characterize this outer
Feel free
skirt
to
of the
zoom on
Davidson
Argus.
Seamount, a place we've never been.
Yeah, that Argus shot is really good.
Yeah.
Nice perspective on the overall landscape.
Last night when it was when the vehicle was in an area with tall spires, it was the Argus shot was amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
that was a funny moment. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah,
We're
right.
seeing it. White knuckled up here. We were totally fine.
It's like, so
Unfortunately,
beautiful.
seen a lot of moments that were closer than that.
Yeah.
And harder.
Look, another little mini slump there, just beginning. And it sort of sticks together. In fact, the edge hangs over. That's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's all really sticky stuff.
Yeah.
Is that another kelp fall?
Yeah, it certainly looks like it.
Not yet discovered by an urchin. Video pushing. Oh, almost discovered by an urchin.
Yeah.
Get out of there while you still can.
It's sprinting at urchin speed.
So that's the question. Do these urchins, are they opportunistic, or do they make their entire living on kelp fall?
That would be quite a hard living to do down here.
It
Oh,
would. It would. You'd have to.
I imagine they must have other diet items.
Yes.
Will you zoom out on Argus a little bit?
But probably not algal in nature.
No, that one's
No,
going to
detritus.
supply with quite amount of carbon for a while.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us here on the seafloor. It's super cool to have you with us. Again, we're exploring a brand new area. So
That's a different urchin right
Yep,
there.
Aaron, get it.
Yeah, seeing all kinds of these
Yep,
different
we see these at Davidson.
Ah.
soft sediment specialists.
Yeah. Wow.
Urchins are so cool.
They
Any
are.
of the
Love this.
bristleworm underneath
We call
it.
this Tromicosoma, and there's 2 species.
First
This
alarm.
one might be Tromicosoma
What?
panamense.
What did you say?
See the worm underneath?
Oh.
The polychaete?
And they they fill themselves up with water and make them really big, and then they deflate.
So they have a more of a soft skeleton or a?
Well, it's softer than our shallower relatives.
Gotcha. So yeah, sometimes you'll
So
see
cool.
associated with an urchin, a polychaete or something that kind of lives underneath the spines. Full wide.
Bridge nav. Let's do 1 step 50 meters bearing 345.
Love looking at all the
Yes,
places
thank you.
people are watching with us. It gives me travel lust. I'm like, okay, where are we off to?
Oh, we're gonna pass the sponge. You can just see it in Argus, little white pit.
Oh,
And then there's
yeah.
Here's a
another
big
one
one in
coming
Herc.
up ahead.
So height of viewers in Chile, Denmark, Ecuador, Spain, India, Israel, Japan, Mexico, Malaysia, Uruguay, Finland, France, Netherlands, Norway, Australia, Germany, Italy, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the United States.
Wow.
The sun
So-
never
That's
sets on the
amazing.
Nautilus Empire.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, the sun.
So how many
Yeah.
countries was that?
I didn't count them.
Is this the Picasso sponge?
No, this is
Okay.
not. The Picasso sponge has a smoother out exterior, and
Gotcha.
it's bright yellow.
Push
They
in.
look like big
Oh,
cups.
it is bright yellow. Okay. Yes, I just
21,
remember. I remember
also
the
Hong
hand
Kong.
motion for the
21 countries.
If this one's stalked,
Amazing.
this might be Saccocalyx.
Saccocalyx.
I don't know if it's stalked or not.
Hard to say.
video full wide.
Variety of other folks watching, writing in. Good morning from Alaska. Hi, Alex Havens, one of our Corps of Exploration members. And looks like we have some explorers in Boise, Idaho,
I don't know if
my
I'm going to be able to
hometown.
get around to see if that's stocked.
I didn't know Boise was your hometown.
Yeah. Go potatoes.
Go potato. Yeah, there's not enough room for me against the cliff to see if that's stocked.
If it was, it'd be a short one, short stock.
I don't know, maybe that's my mom.
And that tight space, rather than trying to spin around, you just lateral back out.
It's easier and you have less chance of scraping the sediment. Granted, you do make a massive dust cloud, but we'll be out of here soon. And we're still partially zoomed on Argus.
Are we still partially zoomed?
Yeah. That makes more sense.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we're up 28 meters, so.
All right, I'm gonna go forward a little bit upslope.
Hello,
yeah, upslope
Chad.
is good, I think. We're going 345 now, which should be okay, but
Yeah.
if we end up towards the,
So Paul's at 255, so that's pretty perpendicular.
yeah, it should
So
be alright.
we have a good setup.
Think so. Trying to curve around this thing.
What's the next move, Rennie, did you say?
345.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so we're
it's-
sliding you through the water like this, right?
Hey, Jamie, you available for a question?
Yes.
Yeah, Argus is what, 30 meters away from 35 meters away from a
viewers
pretty solid return.
Viewers want to know if there's
Yeah.
anything that lives down in the sediment, you know, what the equivalent of like worms and beetles
So
would
that
be
one's
on
stocked.
land.
There definitely is. It's a very abundant life source down here. There are little tiny worms that live in the sediment. And
I think I'll stack another one on.
Right.
Bridge nav.
Yeah.
Add one more step.
some brittle stars bury themselves mostly in sediment.
Yeah, actually, video, if we push in,
Mm-hmm.
keep going, keep going, keep going, hold that. Sometimes you can see the outlines of a brittle star in the sediment.
Sometimes foraminifera live in the sediment.
And if there's a little pocket of sediment, there's almost always something in it,
Mm-hmm.
a little hole.
And then there's lots of research about the
There's some
microbes and
bioactivation.
bacteria that live in the sediment as well. They're a really important piece of the overall picture, the ocean.
Yeah, definitely. Those are abundant in the sediment throughout the ocean.
Doing a DVL reset.
Sure.
That looks reasonable, right?
Yeah. What is that?
Jamie, I did a DVL reset. That looks like a scaphopod.
You what, Rennie?
It looks like a scaphopod.
What is a scaphopod? Tell us more.
It's a,
I've never seen a scaphopod in the wild before.
I think that's what that was. Do you agree, Amanda?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we go back and look at it a little bit more?
It's like it's a tusk
Yeah,
shaped
full art.
shell, and a little creature lives in there, and I don't know any more about it.
All right.
Usually they burrow, so my guess is that's just the shell.
Yeah.
They burrow with the pointy ends sticking up and the wider ends further down into the sediments.
Thank you for the zoom.
Yeah, full line.
Thanks for the help, Amanda.
I know that because
Thanks,
Suna
VIP.
told me.
Oh, awesome.
This is Chad. I'm back, and Amanda and I just had a wonderful interaction with Joe, who was a science communication fellow on our cruise last year.
Fantastic.
And he's part of the National Geographic program,
Yeah, I
Exploring
picked
by
up
the
some
Seat of
mud
Your
on that one.
Pants. And so he was kind of the MC for us being connected, and we were connected to 6 classrooms across the world that were able
Oh,
to
that's
ask
cool.
questions, and then another 50+ classrooms that could tune in live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we were just talking about the reach of people viewing Nautilus live right now in
We're at 21 countries.
21, and then
All right,
also
guys,
all the
call your
classrooms
friends
who
in
were-
other countries. Let's see if we can get to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. They had some great questions. It was a lot of fun. And then when you guys came across the Dumbo, that was right at the beginning of our broadcast. So we were able to switch
cool.
live to it right away.
Oh, really cool.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, I was just like force talking right in your ear. I was like, go, 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 you know?
That was opportunistic. I mean, but just like a couple of feet forward or farther back, we would have missed it entirely.
Yeah, it would have gone right behind us. Yeah. Amazing.
Which then makes you wonder how many there were.
They're everywhere. We're surrounded.
Just so everybody knows, I did not have nightmares of the creepy anemone face.
Oh, good. Snowman face didn't haunt your dreams?
I have that photo on my phone now.
If your kids are bad, you show them.
Yeah. Creepy deep sea clown face is going to get you tonight. If you don't eat your vegetables.
Wait, you guys sleep? What?
What? I thought we were all not sleeping
Yeah,
together.
that's what you've been doing wrong this entire time.
What? It's been a whole season.
So if you're watching on the Quad channel, the question just came in, are we actually physically in the same space? Like, can we see each other? And we can.
Some of us.
Some of us. I actually can't see the whole science team. But on
Rennie
channel...
can see everyone.
Yeah. Rennie is secretly our leader.
Regulator.
But inside the control room, which is 2 modified shipping containers welded together, we are all in this space together. So Aaron and I, the video engineer and the science communication fellow, are over sort of in the corner, the far edge of the front row. To Aaron's right is Paul, and to Paul's right is Greg, and to Greg's right is Rennie. So the front row has the navigator, the ROV pilots, video engineer, and the science communication fellow. In the back row has our data logger, our science seats, and our chart table. You're on camera now.
Hello.
So we got Jamie, Amity, and Chad back there. Just underneath the camera and stepping outside the van right now is Dane. So we have another optional science seat back there in the back. So Aaron and I can't see the science team because there's a big wall and a bunch of monitors, but we are all in the same, I don't know, couple 100 square feet.
Confined space.
In the dark. With the aggressive air conditioning.
Yeah. Now, you know, I think is a good thing is that everybody in here obviously has their sea legs, but I think there's a lot of people that wouldn't be able to sit in a darkened room and stare at a monitor while they're moving back and forth.
Yeah, I tell people, like, you could just take your laptop, take your Nautilus Live on your laptop, go sit in, like, a dark closet, and if you can, like, rock back and forth and watch your monitor like that, like, you are having a very similar experience.
What do you think about a step north? I've been doing 3, 4, 5. Just,
yeah, let's do a step north.
Just 1, yeah. Bridge nav. 1 step 50
I always tell
meters,
people
bearing
to
north. Thinking.
set up your bed in the top shelf of your closet. And
have to climb up and down to it?
If you want the full experience, have somebody start a lawnmower on the bottom of your closet. Go to sleep.
Cuddle up. Climb down very carefully.
So Rennie, let me get your opinion as far as everybody, of course, wanting to make that conical volcanic feature at the
Gotta
end.
make the cone.
Does it look like if we have to pull around 9 o'clock tonight, or we should be getting there no problem, or?
Well, let's see. So we were around here. We covered just like 400 meters in an hour, which makes, yeah, okay, so let's do a bunch of little. That's I think so.
Okay.
It's looking good.
What we can do is if we want more, I'm imagining something like the ship, tell me how this would work. If we wanted to, let's say, circle around that cone, is that something that's doable by parking the ship over the top well, not parking like stationary, but
You mean we've already climbed up the sides with the vehicles?
yeah, then we can kind of circle around. Is that something that's normally done, or is it usually just straight transects up and down?
We can do that. It's just that it's actually quite big of a feature. So even if you mean the ship is stationary up there?
No, but it kind of. Well, I mean, I don't know the physics of it.
Yeah, we could just draw a square with the ship, and then the ROV's driving a circle around there.
Gotcha. Yeah,
square on the surface makes a circle on the bottom. That's a little bit of.
Well, to ensure that we have time, I'm okay with, if it would save an hour or whatever, cutting across this gap here.
This right here.
Not just that, but where we are now, instead of curling around that feature.
Okay, I think we can get to the top here and
then shoot across.
And then we can make a decision about shooting across and look at time. And
that sounds good.
We could truck across this plane here and then maybe land down here. We'd forgo doing this.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
But
13 to 16.
Yeah, 13 to 16. And we can still view bottom. It would just be kind of a straight.
Great.
Yeah. I think that way we'll have more time at this feature and then the cone. And if we end up with extra time, we do have this kind of steep slope over here, just to the east of the cone. And we can explore that if we're done with the cone. But it looks like there's plenty of real estate on the cone. Different aspects.
Yeah, everybody on the ship is like, get to the cone.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should have started there.
No, you gotta end on a good note. Gotta have a reason to come back, right?
That's right.
Well,
so our
not in an effort to give you a reason to come back, but Chad, you were out of the van for this earlier. We do have a small oil leak on the vehicle, and so we're watching one of our comps pretty closely.
Dane told me about that you guys were watching it, so yeah, that kind of prompted my question for Rennie there, just only to see if we could shave a little bit of time.
Right.
Should anything arise. Have you seen this before?
That cone? No, never seen that cone.
No, not
before.
the cone. Nice.
You don't have to listen to Greg.
Yeah, I mean, we've had small leaks before, but it always depends on if the leak gets worse or not, or if it stays steady. Sometimes you kind of reach an equilibrium. You know, it takes a certain amount of pressure for it to leak out, and if it reaches a point where we've used up that pressure, so we still have some positive pressure on the comp, but we're not leaking anymore because it takes more pressure to.
Has it changed in the last hour?
I think it might have gone down by 0.1, maybe.
I think the next move I'll do is a 3-4-5 again. That'll get us back in the zone.
Sometimes these analog gauges have a little bit of play too and can just wiggle around, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that this gauge goes to full 0. We're not going to run it to full 0, but
as we start ascending, we should get
some
pressure.
Pressure back.
That sounds like a vote for fly to the cone after this wall.
Oh, and Chad, just so you know, we saw a couple of different pieces of kelp.
Yeah, was there like a Macrocystis blade? We were watching that like 10 camera view while I'm answering questions, and I saw a tiny little corner of that picture. It looked like a kelp blade.
Yeah, it was a Macrocystis, yeah.
Oh, I was hoping it was a green sea pig, but you know.
Video push in.
There's a lot of an enemy on that stalk. of some kind.
Yeah.
Looks like possibly 2 anemone.
That one figured out how to get out in the water column a little bit more.
Yeah. It's taking advantage.
Bolacera again. It's cool with those
Long sweeping
Bridge
tentacles.
now.
long tentacles going out and capturing anything and
Yeah,
bringing it
those
back.
Previous step
cute.
50 meters bearing 345.
I'm just
Thank you.
curious how old these layers are. Obviously younger than 9.8 million years, but
Yeah.
really
What are you
cool.
doing there, buddy?
It's like perfectly in the light pool, just enough shadow.
Altitude 15.
So we're 15 meters off the bottom. What's do you have any
I think,
idea how high it goes above us?
Not at the exact, well, it kind of peters out in Argus. So Argus is 50 meters off bottom where Argus is
And we
situated.
still see some of
There's
the
a
top there.
there's
in
a
the meso
slight
scanning.
slope there, but it's not a hard slope at that point.
Yeah, so it's
So does this feature at least, what, 60 meters tall or something?
something like that. And that matches the bathy of the map too.
Wow.
About 50. Of varying slopes.
I guess,
A lot of
Aaron,
it
zoom in.
vertical.
so if this is over 150 feet tall. I guess that would be like a 15-story building-ish.
Yeah, it's a good perspective to put it in.
Yeah.
It's not a place you want to like go from. Full wide. Every now and then, you know, you just get like that hit of like, man, this is crazy.
Don't let it overwhelm you. You still have piloting to do. This is crazy. What are we doing? What are we doing?
What's the depth change between here and that cone?
A lot of different. It's varied. Let's see.
Boy, that is a big anemone.
Can we get on that?
Lasers on the anemone.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do you actually want to measure it, or was that
Video
just a
push
good
in.
excuse to-
A little bit of both.
I'm not gonna lie, a little bit of both.
Yeah. It is very large, though.
Yeah, that is very big.
All right, Aaron,
Thank
push
you.
in more.
It's a little bit up, a little bit down, and then there is a 50-meter kind of steep slope. And then we're at roughly a plane for a bit until we reach the cone. That's answering your question,
Okay.
Greg.
Ooh, is that another predatory tunicate down
Yep.
there?
Yeah, they've been kind of
Hanging
almost,
out, if you
yeah,
will.
they're not as common as the anemones, but been
Mhm.
seeing. Yeah, there's another one. There's a big one actually.
Oh, I think it's massive.
Yeah,
Bridge, Nav.
it's bigger than the sponge.
Let's add one more step.
Might be able to eat the fish. Video push in.
So Megan, are you on?
She's just getting set up.
Okay.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I was just asking if you were on.
Oh, yes,
Full
I'm
wide.
here.
So we were.
I was creeping in on the interaction downstairs. I was helping them troubleshoot. I'm back.
No worries.
What's happening?
We had just passed a section of wall
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of estimated to be 50 or so meters tall. So we were just putting it in kind of relative terms, that'd be over 150
Kelp.
feet or
Kelp.
like a 15